Chiefs Kingdom. We're talking trade rumors today. Coming our way from the Athletics, Dianna Russini. She says the Kansas City is looking into some defensive linemen around the deadline. We're going to talk about potential options that Kansas City could make a move for to upgrade at the spot. But before we get into this big episode, I want to hear from you guys on this one. Chat Sports put out their power rankings today, and Kansas City came in fifth out of the 32 teams. Fifth, guys. And you know who was in first? The Detroit frickin' Lions, who we beat just 2 weeks ago, who we put BTA to 2 weeks ago, if I might add. Where do you guys think we should be in the power rankings? Because clearly, the guys here at Chat Sports have shown themselves to be incapable of ranking teams in the NFL. I'm turning it over to you guys. You guys get the responsibility now. Go let me know in the comments, where should Kansas City be? And let's get into this thing. So, like I said, guys, main topic of today's episode is going to be the discussion around the rumors put out by Dianna Russini of The Athletic. Pretty knowledgeable insider. If you're not familiar with her, she's usually on point with these sort of things. So, lot for us to take away from. And I think she's right that they're targeting defensive line. She put this out actually before week 7 when Omar Norman-Lott got injured. But all the more reason that that would be the case. If you missed it yesterday or you didn't see the Week 7 game, Omar Norman-Lott left in the third quarter with an ACL tear. We didn't know what the injury was at that time. But he was helped off the field by his teammates. Patrick Mahomes came on to help him out. Noel Williams helped him off. That's our guy, Noel, right there, being a great teammate. But unfortunately, Omar is going to miss the rest of this season. And like we talked about yesterday, this is on just a loss we could not afford. This is a position group that's already extremely thin for Kansas City. So making a move to replace a rookie who had been a pretty big impact maker when he'd been on the field, hadn't seen a ton of snaps to this point in the season, but had played well when he'd seen them, I think it's going to be something that we absolutely have to do. And here's the quote from Dianna Russini on our move to go get a defensive lineman. She says we're not shopping for running backs. We are shopping for defensive linemen. This was the only quote she had about Kansas City in the entire article. A little bummed there wasn't more information on us, and definitely bummed we're not looking into running backs. But I think it's pretty understandable at this point, given the loss of Omar Norman-Lott, given the lack of production we've gotten from our defensive line across the board in the pass rushing department, and the inconsistency from the guys behind Chris Jones at defensive tackle. Derek Nottie is not playing like a starting level player in the NFL. I think we need to get him into a depth role, and Omar Norman-Lott was our path to making that happen, but right now, we don't have one. With Omar Norman-Lott off the team, we need to make a move. So I'm gonna ask you guys, who do you think the Kansas City Chiefs should trade for? Even if it's not a defensive tackle, just name a player that you think Kansas City should make a move for. Let me know in the comments, who would you like to see in red and gold this season? Let's move into 3 candidates that I think we should make a move for. Number 1, a bit of an old friend, someone who was in Kansas City for a few years, just not too long ago. Khalen Saunders. He's done a stint with the Saints in the time since, briefly with the Jags this season. But I think a reunion here could make sense because Khalen is a phenomenal pass rusher. He broke out big time for us in 2022. Great season for him. He'd been a rotational guy prior to that point in the first 3 years of his career. Got a ring in his rookie season in 2019. He's got 2 with the 2022 Super Bowl as well. And throughout his career, he has consistently been a solid pass rushing defensive tackle, and that is exactly what we're missing. Outside of Chris Jones, we have no one in the interior who affects the passer consistently right now. And the last season Khalen had as a full-time starter, he's been mostly relegated to a bench role in Jacksonville. He had 27 tackles, a 6% pressure rate, 2 sacks, and 22 stops in the run game. So he's a well-balanced defensive tackle, a guy who could come in, a trusted veteran who knows Spagnuolo's system, has been in Spagnuolo's system, and had a lot of success in it in 2022. I think this move makes sense for Kansas City. I think it's a move that has Brett Veach written all over it in a lot of ways. I think this might be of the moves we're going to discuss, maybe the highest likelihood move of happening. I'm going to give that one to you guys right now. And I would do it. If I was sitting in Brett Veach's chair, I'd make this move because I think you can make this move without precluding the possibility of making a lot of the other or any of the other moves we're going to discuss in this video. I don't think trading for Khalen Saunders, because the price tag should be so low, means you can't make some of the other moves we're going to make. So here's what I think we'd have to give up to go get him from Jacksonville. Like I said, he has not found a role. They made a move for him. James Gladstone, their GM's been super aggressive since taking over, coming over from the Los Angeles Rams to help out Jacksonville as their new GM. And he's made a ton of trades. This one, I would say, has not been one of his more successful ones. Saunders has not been a great fit for Liam Cohen's scheme there, and he just hasn't progressed, hasn't gotten on the field since playing 12 snaps in week 1. I think it would behoove Jacksonville to move on from a guy like this, pick up a 6th-round draft pick, upgrade a late-round pick. We'll take back a 7th-round pick in the same draft, and we'll take Khalen Saunders, add at least a depth piece to our defensive line. I think there's potential for more, though, from Khalen back in Steve Spagnuolo's system, a system in which he had the best seasons of his career. But if outside of Khalen Saunders, we got 2 other candidates to discuss. Number 2, Dre'Mont Jones from the Tennessee Titans. This one, guys, this would be a bit of a bigger splash. We're kind of going in order here from smallest splash to a little bit of a big splash to big time splash down here, guys. Wait out for this one because this one's going to be the big splash move. But like I said, Jones would cost a little bit more, but you get what you pay for. This is something we've talked about. In the NFL, if you want to get a good player, you're going to have to give up some draft capital. Go get him. And Dre'Mont Jones is an impact maker. You see that in his stats from the last few seasons. This is a defensive tackle who disrupts the pass, is great in the run defense as well. 3 tackles for loss this season in 7 games with Tennessee. He's been one of the bright spots on their team. I was talking to our Tennessee Titans host, Brett Alper, today, and he told me he's been one of the best players on this defense. He switched over to edge in the last 2 seasons of his career, and he's continued to be quite effective. But in 2023, he had one of his best seasons at defensive tackle, and I think that would be the most natural fit for him on our defensive line's depth chart at this point. Like I said, we want to get Derek Nottie out of this starting lineup. We want to get Derek Nottie off the field consistently, and Dre'Mont Jones fits Steve Spagnuolo's ideal prototype for defensive tackles. He's a bit of a smaller guy. He slimmed down to go play that edge role. He can maintain that same weight and move inside and still play some snaps on the outside as well. Give Mike Dianna a little bit of a relief. Be a mix-up, change of pace guy with Ashton Gelati and George Karlaftis as well. So I think we'd have a ton of value out of Dre'Mont Jones. I think he's somebody who'd really upgrade the pass rush for us, both coming from the interior, and he can also play snaps on the edge as well. So here's the trade. Like I said, this one's going to cost us a little bit more. Not a late round draft pick or swap this time. We're still going to do a pick swap. We're giving up a 4th, but getting a 6th in return. So not quite just giving up a 4th round draft pick. This is more like giving up a 5th, in my opinion. But we also get Dre'Mont Jones back in this deal. Massively upgrade our pass rush. Really fill the need that we lost with Omar Norman-Lott, a guy who has versatility on our defense. Hasn't played true nose since 2023, but I think we could get him back in that role. And this is another move that I would absolutely make. I would make every move we're going to talk about in this video, but this one is the one I'm kind of in between on. I think you're giving up a decent bit of draft capital for a player who would make an impact, but move number 3 for me, guys, the 3rd and final move, man, that's the one I would really go for. That is the best available option for Kansas City on the market, in my opinion. And kind of reminds me, the best available site to place your lineups, guys, PrizePicks. Because you and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. PrizePicks is the only app that offers stacks, meaning you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. Want to pick more on Patrick Mahomes' passing yards, his rushing yards, and his touchdowns? Now you can pick all of them in the same lineup only on PrizePicks. And now, really cool feature that PrizePicks just added, you can follow other PrizePicks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one click. Whether it's a friend, a celebrity partner like Brett Alper of the Titans show that we were just talking about, or just someone whose picks you like, hit the follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new feeds tab on PrizePicks. And I've got my lineup put together for the return of professional basketball tonight. Huge Thunder fan, so I loaded it up with some Thunder-related picks. We've got the more on Chet Holmgren's rebounds, the more on Kevin Durant's points. Going to give him a second chance since he did not give that to the Thunder. And I'm going to get the more on Shai's points as well. So we're going with all three of those picks. And tail me, fade me, do it at PrizePicks because PrizePicks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. PrizePicks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. All right, guys, last trade candidate of the video, the one I've hyped up as my favorite option for Kansas City on the market, and maybe not the name some of you guys were expecting, Daron Payne from the Commanders. This would be a fantastic pickup for us, in my opinion. He has been great throughout his career. He continues that excellent career this season, 17 tackles, an 8.2% pressure rate, 2 sacks, and 15 stops. This guy is truly a great disruptor of the pass and the run game from the interior. One of the better at that in the entire NFL. He's just below that tier A of guys. He's in that tier B of defensive tackles, in my opinion. A true difference maker. By far the most talented option we've discussed of all the guys we've talked about in this video. Khalen Saunders and Dre'Mont Jones, both good players. Neither of them really hold a candle to Daron Payne. And trust me, guys, I think you're going to like the trade offer I've put together because it involves us getting rid of someone who's been a bit of a nag in our situation in the cornerback room over the last couple of days. Trying to think of a nice way to describe what's been going on with Kristian Fulton. But things have been, he's been an issue for us, to say the least. He's been a healthy scratch over the last 2 weeks, and I think we could get him off the roster in exchange for Daron Payne. We move on from a guy who's been an issue for us, add him to a Washington team who's had issues of their own at corner. He could actually fill a role for them. He's failed to do that with us, failed to really catch on. But they've made some bad decisions in terms of corner personnel in the past. They made that trade for Marshawn Lattimore with the Saints. Maybe they make another bad personnel decision as far as corner goes and trade for Kristian Fulton, because we're going to throw in a third-round draft pick for him. We're going to make this offer pretty sweet. Throw in that third. Let's go get Daron Payne. Let's not have to worry about the interior of the defensive line anymore, because trust me, you pair Daron Payne and Chris Jones together, you're not going to have to do that anymore. Derek Nottie goes from being a full-time starter to a rotational player, which he should be at this point in his career. I think he could be solid in that role, but playing the amount of snaps he's currently playing, he's not going to be that type of guy. And this is a trade where we would need to give up a player. The reason Fulton's getting packaged is not because we just want to get rid of him, although we definitely do. This is kind of a two birds, one stone situation. We need to clear up some cap to add a guy like Daron Payne. So we're going to free up almost $4 million, north of $3.5 million, sending off Kristian Fulton, getting rid of him in this deal. So I've made it pretty clear which one of these three trades I'm most interested in doing. Don't think I've made any secret of it. It's Daron Payne. But you guys make the call. Let me know which of these three guys you're most interested in adding to the Kansas City Chiefs. If it's Khalen Saunders, type KS. If it's Dre'Mont Jones, type DJ. And if it's Daron Payne, type DP as in Dr. Pepper. Two unrealistic options. Two guys I don't think the Chiefs should trade for, but that I've seen come up in discussions from the Kingdom. Or really, I won't say that I don't think the Chiefs should trade for these guys. I think they're both really good players. I'd love to see them be Kansas City Chiefs. Trust me. It's just not really realistic that they would end up being Kansas City Chiefs. The first is Jaelan Phillips. He's definitely available. I'm not denying it. Miami's looking to shop him, but he's unfortunately not a great fit for our needs for two reasons. Number one, he's a pricey rental. At the end of the day, our odds of keeping Jaelan Phillips are about as good as a snowball's chance in hell. If we traded for him, we'd have to give up probably a third-round draft pick at the very least. I think Miami might even want a second for Jaelan Phillips at this point. And then there's almost no chance that we could keep him next season. The cap restrictions around it, he's going to want a contract that's easily north of $25 million. That's just not feasible for Kansas City at this point. So do you want to give up that type of draft capital to rent an edge for one season? If it guaranteed us a Super Bowl, maybe it'd be worth it. But I don't think you can say that Jaelan Phillips is going to guarantee us a Super Bowl. And then Bradley Chubb, another Miami Dolphin, is the other guy I've seen come up in discussion, but he's unrealistic again for a bit of a similar but kind of different reason. He's just out of the budget as is. We can't even afford to rent him for the year. Jaelan Phillips is still on the rookie deal, so we could actually bring him in. We just have to let him go when we want a new contract or when he wants a new contract at the end of the year. Bradley Chubb, we just really can't make this move to begin with. He would bring in a $20 million cap charge to us. And Kristian Fulton getting that $4 million off the books with him, that's not going to cover the $20 million. That would bring us up to about $7 million in total space. That's not going to make it realistic for us to bring in a guy like Bradley Chubb. So unfortunately, these two guys, I just don't see them as realistic options for the Kansas City Chiefs. I do think they're probably out of the picture. I think we're going to get outbid on Jaelan Phillips. And honestly, I don't even know if the Miami Dolphins will find a trade partner for Bradley Chubb with that enormous cap hit. But back to the three guys I do think are realistic. Once again, let me know in the comments which of these three guys you'd be making a move for. Type DP for Daron Payne, that's my guy. Type DJ for Dre'Mont Jones. Type KS for Khalen Saunders, bringing back the Missouri boy to Missouri. And lastly, we are out of here. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed today's video. If you made it to this point, we always appreciate you watching. Have a great day.